Next, I want to discuss what happened as a result of that fear, of all of those glances and those hatred, hating looks towards me. I said something that, first of all, I've never said anything inappropriate in my life. What I said, number one, I didn't know America was listening. I'm flattered, but I did not know the technology exists for America to listen. And second of all, saying what I said had to do with fear that I felt from the African American community. I was afraid, and I wanted to say things to uplift them, but really was having a conversation and a ramble with myself. And I had no way of knowing that the entire country was listening, to my shock and horror. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with our country with the way it is now. And I have insulted both the African American community and the white community. I was devastated. I mean, adding to what happened with the fact that I couldn't look this man in the eye because I was so nervous and had 3 panic attacks in a row at the police station. People don't understand this is all just a misunderstanding. I didn't know all of America was listening, to my horror. So I went through a complete breakdown, and I apologize for taking so long to discuss this. I really didn't have a chance to process things until I started writing everything down and fully understanding my own, what was happening. I've been on the ride of my life. I love Americans. I love, everybody who's been so kind to me and so wonderful to me. I had to put together 2 and 2 together that the story came because of Joe. I had no idea of that. And so all of this became really overwhelming for me and just tragic because I said things that, number one, I don't believe, and number 2, I don't think are necessary, and number 3, I felt I was talking to myself with. I don't think that those things are necessary, but I had those thoughts about the eye thing in my head for so long with nobody to talk to that I started to think of ways of uplifting that community so that I wouldn't have to be fearful of those looks. And I didn't mean them because I don't think they're necessary. I don't think any of those things are necessary. I think we have the perfect country the way it is, and I think that education is the key to everything. I don't believe the things that I said. I was just basically rambling about things that were just not gelled in my head. And I really didn't know America was listening, which I must impress upon America. It cannot be impressed upon you enough. The shock and the horror on top of that, which already happened with the eye thing, this whole misunderstanding has been so brutal and so horrible to me. I'm a patriot that I've basically had a complete breakdown, and that is why it's taken so long for me to respond. And I do apologize about that, but I've never said inappropriate things like that. I've never even thought about things like that. And I've insulted both the black community and the white community. And it was a horrible thing to say, let alone not knowing the entire country was listening. So I went into total denial over it. And denial was protecting me from the shock and the horror. And it's taken me a while to process it. And I can't apologize enough for my careless and reckless words and my unawareness, my lack of awareness at the thought that everyone was listening to me. That put me into total despair. It still does. It's disgraceful. I am so very sorry. I couldn't be more sorry. I've gone through total devastation over both episodes, the eye thing and this. I never meant either one. It was a misunderstanding. I've never had problems looking at African Americans in the eye, black or white, ever. It was just the police station scenario. And the other thing stemmed from that, from all the things I was receiving in the mail and all the hatred that I hadn't processed and was becoming afraid of. So I want to